Our next story comes from the deep forest of Stevens County, located in northeast Washington state, where a couple claimed to have had several encounters with Bigfoot. Daniel and Wendy Ehry, wanting to get away from the city life, packed up and moved to this remote homestead to enjoy nature and return to the way of life of the 1800s. In the harsh winters, when temperatures dip to -10 degrees, and with no modern conveniences such as natural gas, they have to rely on wood for heating and cooking. The only access to the 325-acre property is a dirt road, a 50-mile drive to the nearest town, a 100-mile round trip twice a month for shopping. The possibilities of pranksters were quickly dispelled due to the remoteness of the area and the 8 watchdogs roaming the property.
I've lived here for about 6 years, and I have a couple encounters with Bigfoot. The first one probably about 4.5, 5 years ago. We were out across the street by the big rock, and we were out cutting this giant tree down, and I saw something out of the corner of my eye across the creek, and I looked over my shoulder, and there happened to be something like big and furry sitting behind a tree, and it looked like it was going back and forth, kind of looking at me and my boyfriend at the time.
About 3/4 of a mile back down our road by our swimming hole, one winter I had gotten stuck in the ditch, and I was sitting in the ditch trying to rock my car to get it out. And after a little while of trying this and my dog giving me weird looks, I look out my front window, and my headlights, I noticed what looked to me like young trees, saplings, but I'd never noticed them before. And being in the area a lot for the past year and a half, I kind of knew the lay of the land pretty good, and I didn't recognize them.
And he peeked back behind the tree, and I saw him. He had like brown and tannish fur, and he had like this white ring around his face and a darker brown face. I sat there for like maybe 5 minutes, going back and forth, basically playing peekaboo with Sasquatch. It was pretty cool.
But I didn't think much of it after a while, and I kept trying to get my car out, and then started to notice that the hair on the back of my neck started to stand up. And I was feeling like I was getting looked at, and something was close to me when I'd get out to check and see how badly I was stuck. And as soon as daybreak happened, I started my trek to walk down to the house here. And as I got up to where I was about parallel where I saw those trees that were no longer there now that the daylight was here, I saw what looked like a game trail. But the game trail was about 1.5 to 2 foot wide, and instead of being all busted up like hoofs would make it from deer, it was more padded like people with like actual feet.
My second encounter would have to be here at the house. We hear this big yell, like banshee yell, and it was like freaky. I had some friends over, and they immediately went home. They were freaked out. I had one of my dogs had happened to run up behind the house, and we decided we were going to follow it up there, and we got probably 60 yards away from it when it started screaming at us, like yelling at us not to go any further, I believe is what he was saying. And my dogs went up to it. I guess they don't care about dogs. But over the course of a week or two, we would leave food out, like fruit. We left apples and oranges one time, and he ate the apples, but he didn't like the oranges. He threw them back in our yard.
I don't think they're making themselves known that they're here, because we already know it. But our dogs in the middle of the night will react. They don't run off. They know better than to run off, but they will bark at stuff throughout the night, and it drives me nuts. But they won't usually leave the yard. And it makes me wonder if maybe they are here and they don't need to make themselves known, because we kind of have that understanding, even though we do kind of miss it. Maybe not so much the banshee yells.
Right.
Those ones even still put goosebumps.